The DJI Air 3 has been out now for 6 months, and upon release this is one of the most controversial drones that I have seen in a while. So 6 months later, does this actually live up to the hype? Let's find out. Now, I really didn't like the DJI Air 2S. I respected its great camera and its performance, but after that was released, the DJI Mini 3 Pro came out, and that was cheaper, had more features, and could be flown in more places. So when I heard a DJI Air 3 was coming out, I was a bit underwhelmed, but that was until I actually read that this has a second 70mm camera. So 6 months later, what has it been like? Flying the DJI Air 3 nearly every single day. I'm going to discuss that now, give my review, what it's been like, the good and also what I don't particularly like as well, and what I would like in any future versions of the DJI Air series. So let's start with the good points first. Now this keeps the same form factor as the DJI Air 2S, so it folds down really nice and easy. Most of the time I'm actually using this in a backpack, a drone bag or a camera bag, so I don't have this like in my pocket, so the size of it isn't really an issue. Once it's in your bag, you're not going to notice this. But it is slightly heavier than the DJI Air 2S, and I think this is a fantastic combination of weight and performance. By being slightly heavier, it's going to be much better in the wind, which it is, I'll talk about that. And also the performance, it's faster, it's a really good responsive drone. Now the camera setup on here was one of the biggest topics when this was first announced. The 5.4K 1-inch sensor from the DJI Air 2S has gone, and this has been replaced with a 24mm 1/1.3-inch sensor, fixed f1.7. So yes, technically this is actually worse than the DJI Air 2S camera, and that caused loads of controversy all over the place, and including me. I was like, what's going on here? Why have they actually downgraded the DJI Air 3 from the DJI Air 2S? But once I started flying it, I realized that yes, the sensor size isn't as big, yes, that camera resolution is not as good as before, but there's a lot of software processing going on that we didn't see before on that DJI Air 2S. So from flying this, the main camera, the video quality is exceptional, with the caveat of if you know how to get the very most out of it. It also has the advantage that this is now an f1.7 aperture, so low light and nighttime videos look much better because it can let a lot more light in than on the DJI Air 2S. Coupled with the performance and the confidence that you get from this being able to handle different windy conditions, it is a fantastic combination. Now this doesn't have a rotating camera, but it does have that vertical camera mode, which I've used quite a few times. It's not 4K, so again, that's like, I wish it was 4K. It's 2.7K, and that's because it's actually cropping in automatically for you. So yeah, it's not as good as the Mini 4 Pro and the Mini 3 Pro, but it is still there. And photos are fantastic on here as well. 12 megapixel or 48 megapixel, JPEG and RAW. The photos coming out of here are fantastic, and again, because of the f1.7 aperture, low light nighttime photos on here are brilliant. But the biggest advantage out of everything, and the reason why you should consider the DJI Air 3 over any other drone, is this second camera. I thought first of all it's just going to be a gimmick. It's just like the Mavic 3 Pro when that first came out, and it was like that second camera, and it was an Explorer camera, and yeah, it was cool, but did anyone really use it a lot for their content? Well, this, I use a 70mm camera all the time. It is fantastic. So it's a dedicated optical zoom, 70mm, and it's going to completely change the way you think of actually creating drone photos and videos. Because it's optical, that quality is fantastic. So not only can you get closer to things, so you can zoom into things, you can compress that background to get really nice landscape shots. Everything just looks super impressive and grand. You can be really creative and mix your shots up. So videos and photos, have a mixture of like wide photos at 24mm, and then just switch up to the zoomed in camera, that 3 times at 70mm. And if you want to get even closer, it also allows you to digitally zoom on top of that up to 9 times. I personally don't use that a lot, but the 70mm is absolutely incredible. Now, I'm not going to list every single feature on the DJI Air 3 because I covered this in the initial launch video. I will put them on the screen here so you can see for yourself. It saves me a lot of time going through everything, and it also prevents this video being like 40 minutes long. But the active track on here, or smart shots as it's now been changed, I will probably continue to call it active track for the rest of the year, but it has had a name change. This is fantastic. So we saw it on the DJI Mini 4 Pro, it's on here the exact same. So you have a wide box and you also have a narrow box, and it's on a circle. So you can drag on this circle anywhere you want and the drone will track you on a 360 degrees clock face. Absolutely fantastic, and destroys the active track, smart shots on the Mavic 3 Pro, the more expensive drone. It's also had an update, so it has now automatic tracking. So you can just set auto on here and the drone will basically just fly around and track you automatically, get all these different angles. But again, the advantage to the DJI Air 3 is that you can use the 70mm 3x camera for all of these different intelligent flight features. So when I'm tracking me, I can get a really wide shot from quite far back, but then I can switch to the 3x 70mm and get zoomed in tracking shots, and it keeps lock really good. We can't do that on the Mini 4 Pro. Yes, you can do it on the Mavic 3 Pro, the more expensive drone, but the tracking's not as good. But hyperlapse, I love doing hyperlapses. You can use the 1x or the 3x. You can use master shots, quick shots, all the intelligent flight features. Unlimited, everything is unlocked, so you can use the 1x or the 3x for any of the different intelligent flight features. That is a massive advantage. Now, music and sound effects is going to transform your drone video, and all the music and sound effects is from audio.com in this video. Now, what sets them apart from any other platform, they've just introduced this new feature called Link Match AI, which is absolutely groundbreaking. So you know you can't use copyright music on YouTube videos. Well, what you can do is, say I want to get a cinematic track for one of my drone videos. I want to use a Hans Zimmer Inception score. Now, I can't use that because it's copyright, but what I can do is this. So all I'll do is search for that song on Spotify or YouTube. I'll go into share, click on copy, and then I'll go into Link Match AI, and then all I do is I paste that into it, click search, and it's going to find loads of similar tracks to Hans Zimmer Inception. So it's found this top one here, The Rise of the Hero. So I can click play on this and just listen to this, and it sounds really similar to Hans Zimmer Inception. It's just, I've never seen anything like this before, and this is built into audio.com. It's absolutely fantastic, saves me so much time when searching for songs. I can actually find a song, actually I really like the beat of that, I'm going to copy it, paste it into here, and then I'm going to use a similar track to that on all my YouTube videos. It's fantastic. As I mentioned, it's one of the most affordable as well to get music and sound effects. There's already a deal on which gives you 50% off. But if you use my link, Darren70, in the link at the top of the description, you're going to get 70% off this plan. I highly recommend it. Go and get this while the deal's on, and let's get back to the video. This signal coming from the DJI Air 3 to the new DJI RC2 controller with the external antennas, it is the best out of all the different foldable consumer drones. I'm not talking about the Aspire, I'm on about the consumer drones, all the way up to the Mavic 3 Pro Cine. This is the best out of all of them. It has 6 antennas and it uses OcuSync 4. The Mavic 3 Pro, which is more expensive, uses OcuSync 3 Plus. So this is the very best you're going to get. This is better than the Mini 4 Pro as well. I would say out of any of the drones, even different manufacturers, currently at this time of recording, this is the best in terms of signal you can get. And if we touch on price, if we compare these two here, the DJI Air 3 and the Mavic 3 Pro, I would say two of the best drones that DJI have got out right now. The price of the DJI Air 3 with the DJI RC2, get the very best you can do if you're going to go in and get this kit. You want the best. Get the combo. It's going to give you 3 batteries, a drone bag, the RC2, $1,579, £1,379. If we look at the DJI Mavic 3 Pro, this is £2,549, $2,999. The difference in price between these two drones is staggering. And the DJI Mavic 3 Pro, this comes with the outdated DJI RC controller. You don't get the DJI RC2, it doesn't support it. And if you want to get the Mavic 3 Pro with the RC Pro controller, this is a fantastic controller. It's got a brighter screen. It is heavier and bulkier, which is that's something to consider if you're going to be like taking this drone with you a lot. This weighs a lot more. But then that costs $3,889. We've not even talked about the Cine model yet. But let's not forget that this has a worse signal than the DJI RC2 and the DJI Air 3. The signal is better on the Air 3 than the Mavic 3 Pro, and just look at the price difference. The battery life on here is absolutely fantastic. One of the biggest advantages again. So they say around about 46 minutes of battery life. Real world, even in windy conditions, you're going to get 35 minutes of battery life per battery. And then if you get the Fly More combo, which I highly recommend, you're going to get 3 batteries in this kit. So you're going to get over 90 minutes of flight time in just that one area. That's more than enough. Battery life on here is brilliant. So what's actually bad over these last 6 months? Well, I did touch on that. To get the very most in terms of quality out of this, you need to know how to actually use it. So if you're a complete beginner, the first thing I would say is that the video and the photos out here, they are just too sharp. So what you need to do is go into your settings, and if you just scroll across and go down, you'll see a sharpness and noise reduction setting. So I would say turn that down to -1. And then also, if you're not using an ND filter, I would say as a minimum, you want to go to your exposure and change that to -0.3 or -0.7. Otherwise it's going to be too exposed. It just overexposes everything. And the reason why is because it is a fixed f1.7 aperture. And this is a great thing, but also a downside as well. Just like that Mini 4 Pro, it's gone from a f2.8 to an f1.7. And in daylights, f1.7, you're never really going to use that unless you want this really good depth of field effect, like lots of bokeh, and you're not going to get that out of a drone. So this is letting tons and tons of light into this sensor. So you need to use ND filters. So pretty much I have an ND32 filter on here all the time. And what ND filters do is they're going to reduce the amount of light hitting that sensor. But if you don't use an ND filter, the drone will automatically bump that shutter speed as high as possible. So you're going to get a really sharp and unrealistic video. If you use an ND filter, you can reduce that shutter speed so you get a more true to life, realistic video. And that's what I do all the time, which I highly recommend. If you're going to get the Air 3 or the DJI Mini 4 Pro, you have to use ND filters to get the very most out of this. And also, if you're investing this much in a fantastic drone like this, invest this time to actually learn about color grading. So you can use a normal color profile on here, which is fantastic. It does everything for you, but I would certainly recommend using the D-Log M color profile. And if you don't know how to color grade, I've got my own DJI LUTs that you can get for the DJI Air 3. I'll link them at the top of the description, but basically you shoot in D-Log M, so you get this really flat color profile. It looks terrible. And then you get one of these LUTs, you just drag it on, and I've done all that color grading and processing in the background for you, baked into these LUTs. So you don't have to do anything, but that's going to give you the very best in terms of quality. If you don't, you are basically just going to get video quality on par with a DJI Mini 3 Pro, Mini 4 Pro. It's not going to be any like, oh my God, that is fantastic. You need to change these settings to get the very most out of the DJI Air 3. And then it will look absolutely brilliant. Now the second one is commitment. This is a heavier drone. It's not a small under 250 gram drone like the DJI Mini 4 Pro. So you're gonna have to commit more to this drone. Now if you're flying in the USA, this is not really a problem at all. It doesn't make much difference at all on the weight of the drone. But in places like the UK, Canada, Australia, the EU, this is gonna play a part in where you can fly this drone and how close you can fly to places you might want to. So if you want to fly in built-up areas, you're gonna have a separation distance if you don't do any drone licenses or courses, which then does limit you on where you can fly. But I would say don't let this put you off. It sounds daunting, but it's super easy to do. So you just do this course. It can be done online in like a couple of evenings. In the UK, it costs about £80. Some countries in the EU, it's actually free or like 30 euros. It's not a lot of expense. It lasts for around about 5 years, and it will also give you so much more knowledge and actually confidence when you're flying these drones. But don't forget, you also have the 70mm camera on here. So if you don't do any drone courses, any drone licenses, you could still get close to things because you could just zoom in with this 70mm camera. So be like near a built-up area, have your drone much further back, but just use that 70mm camera to get shots like this. Now, normally after 6 months of flying one of these drones, I've got quite a big list or a small list of maybe faults or concerns, problems with these drones, or things that just piss me off. And the DJI Air 3, there isn't a big list at all, and that's a good thing for the DJI Air 3. I would like to see vertical photo support. I have no idea why we don't have it yet. We've got vertical video support where it actually crops in for you, but we don't have photos. It supports the 3x 70mm camera, but it has no photo vertical support, and that just makes no sense whatsoever. I would like to see that. I'm sure we can with a firmware update. The main camera is really good. I would like to see something different though on any future versions of the DJI Air 3. A different main camera. Keep the 17mm, that's great, but something slightly different, either a bigger sensor, 5K again, just something so it like makes it just a little bit better, a little bit more. But that said, I haven't heard of anything to do with the DJI Air 3S or DJI Air 4. I don't personally think that we will see a refreshed version of this year, 2024. I think it'll be 2025. So this is a fantastic time to pick up this. Just now they're coming into spring, the weather's hopefully getting better. This is a fantastic drone. If you're going on trips, this for me gives me so much more confidence than that Mini 4 Pro because it can handle these windy conditions. I can go to pretty much any country all around the world, take this off, it's got bigger propellers, and it will be a lot more powerful and stronger in these windy conditions. And if you learn to actually use this, you're going to get even more out of it. Learn about the shutter speeds and exposure, the actual different color profiles on here. I've got my own settings cheat sheets, so if all this is like, what is he on about, then I've got these little cheat sheets that go onto your phone. You can print them out and they cover everything on the DJI Air 3, so they should hopefully help you for beginners, but also if you're an experienced pilot as well. They're really handy to have with you. So I'm going to link the DJI Air 3 at the top of the description if you want to go and check it out. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think about the DJI Air 3? Have you got this? Would you pick it up? Is it on your list to get? Let me know. It'll be really interesting to actually read your comments. Thanks so much for watching. Appreciate every one of you for watching these videos. If you enjoyed it, just hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.